Well, it's time to go paint this place a new color now. I then spawned in and immediately painted myself with the blood of my enemies. I then found this room and then immediately stared the thing from my nightmares right in its eyes. So then I told him to fuck right off. He then started chasing me and said that I looked tasty, so I glued myself to the wall. Then I went and painted the blood onto the wall and I found a room. It didn't have any but it had a screwdriver in it. I then found another hole in the wall. I then wondered where I was going and then this fucker told me to turn right around and go back to where I was supposed to be. I then went and used the screwdriver, but then afterwards I got right off a high. I then wondered why somebody's grandpa sent me a friend request. I then painted myself like an Oompa Loompa and then ran away. I then wondered why my screen went towards 1980s quality, but then noticed that this dumbass was running away, so I wanted to ask him about his car's extended warranty. But instead I painted this wall with orange juice. I then painted myself like a minion, but then felt like I had to pee, so I peed onto this wall. But then ended up getting high and went to another goddamn dimension. I then wondered what the white ground tasted like, but then ended up turning myself into a bush. I then put moss onto this wall and wondered what kind of giant kid's toy this was, but then ended up turning myself into one of the knockoff Sonics. I then once again went and got high, and then threw blue slushy against the wall. I then found this little child's toy and wondered if I was a child. Then played with the kid's toy and turned myself into Sonic. I then threw Smurf against the wall, and then found a saw. I then wondered if I could use it on the monster. I then wondered why a saw wouldn't work like an actual saw should. I then got high off of and wondered where the actual fuck I was. I then painted myself like an eggplant. I then painted the wall and wondered what kind of dark alleyway with graffiti this was. I then placed down the board and then grabbed this hammer to knock some sense into people. I then made myself look like a I then glued myself back onto a wall and then gambled my life away. I then felt like I took and hyper painted the wall. I then found a giant key and felt like the monster wanted to touch me. So then I ran away, but then he tried to me again. So then I keyed the wall, and then the game said that I can't count to 13 like a So then I spent the next like 5 or so minutes running around the map just trying to collect the stupid paintbrushes. And then this stupid ass monster wanted to try to hospitalize me, so then I just straight up told him to fuck right off. I then grabbed the last stupid paintbrush, but then ended up getting high in a new way. But then I ended up finding in a paint bucket. I then watched the monster tweak off his head, and then found this idiot stuck in midair. I then onto the wall, and then wondered which pathway to choose. I then ended up wondering if I was about to die because of the timer that was on screen. And then they finally chose between heaven or hell, and they brought me straight to hell. And then figured that I felt better swimming in the hot fiery pits of lava. And then had the game tell me I was a stupid. So yeah, I think that's the end of this mayhem. Goodbye.